Welcome to session 4 of From Rebel to Hope. This is our final week in this curriculum. In today's session, we're going to bring together many of the tools we've learned: emotional awareness, healthy coping, grounding, and story. And we're going to add one more powerful ingredient: gratitude. Gratitude in this context does not mean pretending everything is okay or ignoring our pain. It means noticing that even in the middle of hardship, there are still small signs of life, care, and hope. Research has shown that gratitude can reduce stress and anxiety, it can improve sleep, and even support trauma recovery over time because it gently shifts our focus from only pain to pain and hope together. For this session, the materials that you're going to need are the emotional charades, emotion words from your facilitator packet that you cut out ahead of time, a speaker, the progressive muscle relaxation class audio file, and then also the progressive muscle relaxation send audio file. There are 2 files because the file you'll listen to in class has more instructions included so the participants understand exactly how to do the exercise and what the goals are. The file you'll send has the same exercise but without the introduction material at the beginning. As you open week 4, it's important to acknowledge that this is the final session, unless you're planning to continue with the group into the 8-week From Rebel to Healing. Naming the end at the beginning of the session helps participants orient themselves emotionally and signals that today is both a continuation on what's been built as well as an acknowledgement that something is coming to an end. To begin the session, a simple welcome, along with reintroducing yourself and your co-facilitator, reinforces safety and consistency, especially in groups where trust has been slowly built over time. You'll then begin with a brief check-in about the deep breathing and the stress reduction tools from the past week. As a reminder, this check-in gently encourages participants to move the tools from learning into lived practice. The value of these exercises isn't in knowing about them, but in experiencing how they actually support the body and emotions in daily life. Participants aren't practicing because they have to, but because applying the tools at their own pace and in their own way is where the real benefit and growth began. Taking a few minutes to review last week is especially important in the final session. Again, review helps participants consolidate what they've learned and recognize their own growth. You're reminding them that they were exposed to a wide emotional range through the psalm, and that they learned opposite emotions can coexist, and that attentiveness and wise mind are skills they've already begun practicing. This framing helps participants see the material as connected rather than fragmented, and it reinforces that healing is cumulative. What we do each week builds on itself. You will then, again, break into pairs for a weekly high and low sharing, which serves 2 purposes at this stage. First, it grounds the group relationally before moving into deeper material should they continue From Rebel to Healing together. Second, it gives participants another opportunity to practice being both a speaker and a listener by using the 3 questions. By week 4, this is not new information, it's reinforcement. You're strengthening a skill through repetition so that it becomes more natural and accessible outside the group setting. Don't skip these parts, even though they feel repetitive. As you remind them to use the 3 questions, you're reinforcing one of the core themes of the curriculum, that healing often happens through being listened to well, not through advice, correction, or fixing. This simple structure continues to support safety, emotional regulation, and meaningful connection, all of which are especially important as the group enters its final session. In this session, you'll use feeling charades as an ice-breaking game to continue strengthening participants' ability to recognize and name emotions. We return to this skill again and again in From Rebel to Healing because emotional awareness is foundational to healing. Many people have learned to ignore, suppress, or minimize their feelings, and this activity that we're about to do offers a light, accessible way to practice noticing emotions without pressure or intensity. So using a game format here is intentional. Charades lowers defenses, brings some energy into the room, and helps people engage their bodies as well as their minds. So by acting out emotions without words, participants began to see that emotions are often communicated physically and that there are shared human expressions of feeling. Okay, so what you'll place the various emotions face down in front of the group and have someone come up, pick up a piece of paper, or you can whisper the word to a participant if you're working with an illiterate group, and they will act out the emotion. If the emotion isn't guessed right away, encourage them to try something else to get the group to guess the emotion. We want them to begin to think about how we physically express these various emotions. No talking aloud. This is something we're going to build on continually in From Rebel to Healing. After each emotion is guessed, you'll invite 1 or 2 people to share a time they felt that emotion. Inviting people to share vulnerably helps connect the activity back to real life. Using familiar questions like what happened, how did you feel, what was the hardest part or the best part, helps participants gently practice storytelling and emotional reflection one more time. This reinforces that emotions are not abstract concepts, but lived experiences that can be named, shared, and understood in community. The goal here isn't performance or vulnerability for its own sake, but continued practice. Each time participants recognize, name, and talk about emotions in a safe environment, they build confidence and capacity to do the same outside the group. Before moving into the story, you'll pause for a brief round of deep breathing. At this point, no explanation is needed. The practice itself signals safety and helps the group settle. You'll then lead 8 slow rounds using the familiar phrases, I receive your peace and I give you my burdens, allowing the breath to create space and calm before continuing. If you prefer, you can play a minute or 2 of the deep breathing audio file. You're welcome to take that approach as well. Next, you'll introduce progressive muscle relaxation, or PMR. Before you guide the exercise, it's helpful to briefly explain why we're introducing this tool now. You can share that PMR is a simple practice that helps calm the body and mind by gently tensing and then releasing different muscle groups. The purpose isn't to force relaxation, but to help people notice the difference between when the body is tight and when it begins to let go. Many people are carrying tension without realizing it, and this practice brings that awareness in a safe, structured way. After stress or trauma, the body often holds on to tension as a form of protection. That tension can show up as restlessness, tightness, or fatigue, even when there's no immediate danger present. PMR helps people reconnect with their bodies and experience what calm actually feels like, sometimes for the first time in a while. This isn't just a relaxation exercise. It's a way of teaching the nervous system how to settle and find rest. Practices like PMR have been shown to reduce stress and anxiety, support better sleep, and increase awareness of physical sensations, all of which are important for grounding and emotional regulation. You'll then let the participants know that you'll be playing a short, guided recording, and you'll send them this audio file afterwards so they can practice at home on their own. Many people find this especially helpful at night before bed as part of a gentle routine that helps the body wind down. I mentioned this before, but there are 2 PMI files on the Google Drive. One is labeled Class and one is labeled Send. During the session, you'll play the class version, which includes additional guidance for participants. Afterward, you'll send them the Send version to use at home, since it doesn't require the extra instruction because they already received that in class. They'll understand how to go about doing this exercise. You can invite participants to get into a comfortable position. The audio recording is about 15 minutes long, so they're welcome to sit, lie down, or choose whatever position feels most supportive for them. Once everyone is settled, connect your phone to the speaker you brought and play the PMR class audio file. After progressive muscle relaxation, you'll move into the story of Hagar and Ishmael. This story is especially impactful in trauma work because Hagar represents someone with very little power whose suffering is not due to her own failures. She's overlooked, she's mistreated, and eventually cast out. And many participants recognize the emotional reality of her experience, even if the details are different from their own. We use this story because it offers a powerful reframe for people who have felt invisible or disposable. Hagar encounters a God who sees her, speaks to her personally, and responds to her distress. This directly challenges beliefs that often form after trauma, such as no one notices, I don't matter, or I've been forgotten. Naming God as El Roi, the God who sees, gives language to something survivors deeply long for, to be noticed and known in their pain. After the first reading, you invite reflection using the same 4 questions participants are already familiar with. You then let the group know you'll listen to the story again, this time listening for moments of provision, care, or blessing. Hearing the same story twice with a different focus helps participants practice holding both suffering and goodness at the same time. This is a crucial trauma-informed skill. It doesn't deny loss or pain, but it gently widens the lens. When participants identify the blessings Hagar received, the focus isn't on gratitude as forced positivity, but it's about recognizing presence, provision, and support where they existed, even in heartbreaking circumstances. This helps retrain the mind to see more than just threat and loss without minimizing reality. The heart of this section is simple but profound. Suffering does not equal abandonment, and being wounded does not mean being unseen. Hagar's story gives participants permission to acknowledge pain honestly, while also allowing space for care, dignity, and the possibility of new beginnings. From there, you'll move into the gratitude activity and explain why gratitude matters in this context. It's important to name that gratitude is not about pretending everything is okay or forcing positive thinking. Hagar's life was still painful, and her story doesn't deny that. Gratitude instead is about noticing where God has been present even in the hardest places. Research supports this practice because gratitude helps reduce stress, lowers anxiety, improves sleep, and supports healing after difficult experiences. It helps the brain move out of a constant threat response and begin to make room for hope and possibility alongside grief. You'll then introduce the gratitude timeline, which invites participants to reflect on gratitude in the past, present, and future of their own lives. Each part serves a specific purpose. Looking at the past helps challenge beliefs that say good has never happened or that God has never been near. Naming present gratitude anchors participants in the here and now, even if what they name feels small. And future gratitude is especially powerful as it invites participants to imagine a future where healing, provision, or restoration may yet come. This forward-looking component gently shifts the nervous system towards hope without demanding certainty or optimism. You'll give participants quiet time to write, and then if they feel comfortable, you'll invite sharing of one gratitude from the past, one from the present, and one from the future. Giving them a chance to speak and hearing each other's reflections helps strengthen connection and reinforces that hope often grows in community. For homework, you'll close by offering 2 simple practices. First, you'll encourage participants to talk to God about what they're thankful for at least once during the week, bringing gratitude into their spiritual life just as they've been learning to bring in pain and emotion. Second, you'll remind them to continue using their green light tools and the progressive muscle relaxation audio. You can let them know you'll send them the recording and encourage them to try it at night before bed as a way to help their bodies settle into rest. They can also invite their families into this with them. Ending class this way reinforces that healing continues beyond the group and is shaped by gentle daily practices. You'll close the session with prayer, thanking God for loving us and giving us many things to be thankful for. You can then let them know if you'll continue as a group into From Rubble to Healing for anyone that's interested. From Rubble to Hope was intentionally designed as a stabilization curriculum. Its purpose is to help participants feel safe enough in their bodies and minds to begin healing. Through grounding, breathing, emotional awareness, and healthy coping tools, participants have learned how to regulate distress and recognize what's happening inside them without becoming overwhelmed. For many people, this is exactly what they need during or after crisis or trauma, but it is often just the beginning. Once stability is in place, many participants naturally feel ready to go deeper. That's where the next curriculum, From Rubble to Healing, comes in. From Rubble to Healing is an 8-week program that builds directly on everything participants have learned in these 4 sessions. Rather than focusing only on regulation and coping, it gently guides people into deeper healing by helping them explore their own stories in a structured, paced, and well-supported way. Participants begin naming the parts of their story they're ready to acknowledge. They'll begin exploring how their experiences have shaped them and learning more about how trauma affects the mind, emotions, and body over time. They continue practicing grounding and regulation skills while also developing courage, meaning, and forward movement. A simple way to say this is From Rubble to Hope prepares the ground. It creates safety, awareness, and trust. From Rubble to Healing then plants the seeds that allow longer-term transformation to take root. If participants are feeling more grounded, more aware, or more hopeful by the end of these 4 weeks, they are well prepared for what comes next. And if you, as a facilitator, feel ready to continue, the foundations you've built here will carry both you and your group into deeper, meaningful work without rushing, forcing, or fixing. Before I close, I want to address you as the facilitator. Thank you for investing your time, your heart, and your presence into this training. Your willingness to walk with people in their pain, gently, patiently, and without judgment is a gift. As you lead these sessions, remember, you are not responsible to fix anyone. Your role is to create space, offer tools, and walk alongside people as God brings comfort, strength, and restoration. I'm praying that as you teach these 4 sessions, you'll see moments of courage, moments of breakthrough, and moments where participants finally feel seen, just like Hagar, just like Job, just like the psalmist. And if you choose to continue into From Rubble to Healing, I pray you'll witness even more of the slow, beautiful work of God in people's lives. Thank you again for being a part of this. May God bless you as you walk with others from rubble to hope and into healing.